What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all living a fantastic day today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, boy oh boy, today I have a little bit of a sad video for Gears of War Reloaded. Does it destroy the overall experience? I guess it kind of depends on how you view everything. But, ladies and gentlemen, for the longest time, the Nasher has been the most, amazing thing within the Gears of War franchise. There's a reason people call it Nasher of War, because that's just the way you go about playing this game, of course. Lancering is useful depending on the situation that you're in, especially if you want to give some crossfire. But at the end of the day, I would say like 7 or 8 out of 10 of your, engagements are going to literally be up close with a Nasher shotgun. But the Coalition did a little something to this shotgun that has completely changed Gears of War as a whole. And what worries me the most is that I don't think they're going to resolve it. I'm going to be completely real with you guys. Out of all the development teams I've seen, the Coalition, let's be real here. They completely stopped going ahead and supporting Gears of War 5 because they wanted to work on E-Day. So Gears of War 5 has not seen any meaningful updates in God knows how long. And here we are with Gears of War Reloaded, which isn't supposed to be a mainstream title. It's just here to allow PlayStation players to finally have a little bit of access into the Gears of War franchise before Gears of War E-Day goes ahead and drops. So I'm sitting here thinking to myself, are they actually going to put out some updates? Now, if they do, I'll be here and I'll discuss it on this channel and let you guys know if they're good or not. But I'll be honest, I highly doubt it. But ladies and gentlemen, basically with the Nasher shotgun, the Coalition went ahead and tightened the overall spread of this thing across the board for all ranges. And, it doesn't sound bad, and it doesn't seem bad on paper, but when you actually put it into practice and you see it in a live environment, it is absolutely horrendous. Ladies and gentlemen, we're pretty much at a point where anyone, absolutely anyone, not even the highest tier of players, like it could be a newcomer, a PlayStation player's first time ever touching a Gears of War game ever, they can luckily just zoom in their shotgun and almost, shoot you at SMG to like a close range AR distance with a one-shot headshot kill. It's actually disgusting, ladies and gentlemen. My longest streak so far was about 4, I think almost 5 kills in a row, with only popping headshots at close to medium range with the Nasher shotgun. One after the other, after the other, after the other. Now, some people are going to say this is normal, but it's not. Especially for new Gears of War players, you have to understand this is not normal whatsoever. The Nasher, although being probably one of the most powerful guns within Gears of War history, still required a little bit of skill. You had to learn how to close the gap. That's where wall bouncing also came into effect, to basically go ahead and break the accuracy of a Lancer, firing at you, so you can close the gap and get the shotgun kill. And also, it encouraged people to actually, as I stated, close the gap and get the chunks, which is, for anybody that's new to the game, one-shot killing someone with a shotgun. It was a skill gap to it. And now, that skill gap has almost vanished to the point where absolutely everybody online is talking about this, about the crazy annoyance of getting one-shot killed by shotguns all the frickin' time. Even when it comes down to just getting, an active reload shot, I can guarantee one-tapping people 24/7 at all ranges, which once again changes up the overall pacing of Gears of War. This should have never been a thing, but now it is, so people have to play the game in a completely different fashion. And the problem that I'm having, along with the shotguns having this much of a tight spread, I think Red Icy put it together perfectly. And for anyone who doesn't know, Red Icy was actually a pro player for a lot of the OG Gears of War games, and he still makes content till this very day. I usually love listening to his opinions, though, and he's a very good, skilled player. But he says that when it comes down to having this tight of a spread for shotguns, and the advantage that shotguns have now within Gears of War 1, not only is it, completely straying away from what made Gears of War 1 and changing the overall flow of the game, but the pacing and movement of Gears 1 is absurdly slow. And guys, it really is, compared to any other Gears game, and I've said this multiple times in the past. Gears 1 is a unique shooter. It's why I was a little salty that they didn't have a Gears of War, Marcus Phoenix collection, allowing PlayStation players to try out Gears 2 and Gears 3, because they're literally throwing them into the slowest Gears of War game out there, the clunkiest Gears of War game out there. Nothing wrong with that, because again, for the OG fans who actually played Gears 1, it's just an awesome nostalgia trip. And again, if you did play back in the day, it doesn't really bother you. I usually find the clunkiness a charm, just like how I find the clunkiness of an old school Battlefield game or an old school Call of Duty game. It's a charm to that clunkiness. But Along with this clunkiness, you can't be having shotguns absolutely obliterate you at all ranges. It's not like Gears 2 or Gears 3 when you can have a little bit of movement and you can dodge shots and make sure they can hit all the pellets on you, making for more engaging shotgun fights. It's the complete opposite now, The movement's slow, you could barely move around. It's a lot of cover-to-cover action, but wall bouncing is still a tad bit slower than it is in future titles, which makes it so when someone pulls up with a shotgun and they have the tight spread that they have, it will obliterate you. It doesn't matter what you're doing, what your plan is, how you're, planning about going around the enemy and trying to dodge bullet. It doesn't matter. All they need is just a slight bit of accuracy, and they're going to shoot your head right off with a shotgun. Now, I gotta be honest with you guys, I can kind of understand why the Coalition went ahead and tightened the, spread like this for all the Gnasher shotguns. More than likely, they did it for the casual players. Let's be real. As I stated before, Gears of War 1 is the hardest Gears of War game out of the whole franchise, especially for newcomers. And, putting PlayStation players up against Xbox players and PC players who have been playing Gears for a long time would have been disastrous. Let's keep it real. They're going to get their crap absolutely stomped in. So the best way of handling things is tighten the spread of shotguns and make it a lot easier for a newcomer to be able to just, ADS, plop someone, and almost cross-map them with one shot to the head. But I'm telling you right now, although it might be good for the Coalition within the first couple of weeks, maybe the first month, you know what, I'll even give them a little bit more props here. Maybe the first 2 months they'll be able to get away with this. When it comes to the long-term run of Gears of War Reloaded here, it's going to kill the game. Once, people start seeing how broken this mechanic is, and once the really skilled players truly take advantage of this. Because again, yeah, it might be good for the newer players, but can you imagine good players, experienced players, players who've been playing Gears 1 since day one? You know what I'm saying? It's not going to turn out good. Now, of course, those Gears players who have been playing for a while are still, partially adjusting to this because, again, this doesn't play that much like Gears 1. But when they do, I promise you, it will do more harm to the casual players than just forcing them to learn how to play the traditional Gears of War 1 ways. So in my opinion, and keep in mind, this is just my personal opinion. I would love to hear what you guys have to say about this down in the comment section below. But in my opinion, I think it should be reverted. Change how the Gnasher shotgun works, make it how the original, Gears of War 1 played, and just make people actually learn the learning curve. If you didn't want to, introduce Gears of War 2 and Gears of War 3, it is what it is. You could have done that and allowed the new players to play, future Gears of War games that were a bit smoother and, had a bit more flow. But no, you opted into just remastering the same Gears of War 1, and here we are. There's no point in changing it. Absolutely none. Give people the true, traditional Gears of War 1 experience. But this is where I'm a tad bit worried. The Coalition. I mean, let's be real here, ladies and gentlemen. I genuinely do not believe they are going to do anything for the Gnasher shotgun. There's probably only like a handful of people who are even working on this game right now as we speak. I guarantee that probably all of them are working on Gears of War E-Day. But I hope, I still have a tiny bit of hope deep down in my soul that maybe, just maybe, they're not going to just let this game run into the absolute garbage. I'm tired of Gears of War getting crapped on. I'm going to keep it real with you guys. I love Gears, and I want to see Gears actually thrive, but there's absolutely nothing to talk about, nothing to discuss, and nothing to even, encourage you to hop on and play when it comes to the Gears of War experience. The devs, I don't want to say they have no passion, and again, with E-Day, we will truly see how much passion they have. But after Gears of War 5 and moving into Gears of War Reloaded here, I mean, my goodness. It just seems like there's no drive whatsoever within the team. And the saddest part about that is the community feels it. The community senses it. And it affects the overall community at the end of the day. And trust me, this community doesn't deserve it. This is a very hardcore, passionate group of individuals who love Gears of War, who want to see nothing but success for the overall franchise. So please, the Coalition, I know it's probably a decent amount of you guys off of this game, but please update it with quality of life, changes. I am begging you. We have a decently, long path to get to Gears of War E-Day. We're not close just yet, ladies and gentlemen. We got a decent amount of time. And Gears of War 5 wasn't cutting it. It just simply isn't cutting it anymore. And Gears of War Reloaded, although it's pretty much, we've already had this remastered before for Xbox players, it still feels like a breath of fresh air. A lot of Xbox people got it for free. It was a free upgrade if you own the Ultimate. And also for PlayStation players, we have a whole group of new individuals, new life coming into the Gears of War franchise right now. This game is perfect. It's perfect to, keep a steady, consistent community up until E-Day. But that community will not stick around if you cannot resolve the core problems and issues that are going wrong in this game. It will be frustrating, it will be annoying, and people will leave. And there's already enough frustrating and annoying things that go on with Gears of War 1 as it is, because keep in mind, this is a pretty faithful remaster. So, Gears of War 1 had a ton of issues, and guess what? So does this game. But adding more problems on top of the, already existing issues that aren't going to get resolved is not the way to go. And as I stated, it will run a lot of people off. And it's going to be sad because it will just make the wait even longer for E-Day to finally come around. But, ladies and gentlemen, as always, go down in the comment section and let me know what you guys think about the overall shotgun within Gears of War Reloaded. Do you guys think that it's pretty balanced right now? Or do you agree it needs some tuning and it's a bit too much? But, as always, if you enjoyed today's video, leave a like. If you hate it, leave a dislike. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. I post here daily at 8 in the morning Eastern Time. And sometimes we go ahead and double upload at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Everything between COD, Battlefield, Splitgate 2, Arc Raiders, Gears of War, pretty much any shooter that kind of sparks my interest, I want to discuss it on this channel. So if you guys want to stay up to date on all the news, info, additional content that's being dropped, by all means, subscribe and hit that bell. And last but not least, I do stream Monday through Saturday over on Twitch starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Of course, if you guys are interested, I'm going to link that channel down in the description of this video. But as always, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.